Sue, body up the middle, making another move to the outside. 15, 10, end zone again.
Keeps it. Nice move by Brown. He's got space. He's got 6. 35-yard touchdown for Byron Brown. A record-setting night for the South Florida quarterback.
Down so far, a little bit of a high snap. Genty right up the middle. Genty has room. Ashton Genty, give him 6.
Second and long. Lagar tries to fit it in a row. It does. Rowe stays up. The show's off his 4-3 wheels. Incredible effort for Rowe.
The G5 Hive. All G5, all the time.
Welcome to the G5 Hive Live, where we're excited to bring you G5 college football coverage you love each and every week. I am Luke, and I'm joined by my co-host, Justice. If you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button. And if you're watching us on X, please give us a follow, a like, retweet. If you're listening to us in podcast form, please rate and review. The G5 Hive merchandise store, now live. Link in our YouTube video comments, as well as pinned on our X page. And at the bottom of the screen here is pretty cool. We got a little shout out on Christmas morning. One of our fans got a shirt. I'm not sure who who gave him the gift, but it was pretty cool to see that was a Christmas gift for somebody. All right. Well, let's get into our all G5 freshman team. Offensive wise,
these are all true freshmen. True freshmen. No redshirt freshmen. All true freshmen.
Got quarterback Danny O'Neill, San Diego State. Running back Ahmad Hardy, UL Monroe. Running back Fluff Bothwell, South Alabama. Wide receiver Joseph Williams, Tulsa. Wide receiver TJ Price, New Mexico State. Wide receiver Yannick Smith, East Carolina. Tight end Dale Everett, Temple. Offensive tackle Caden Stanton, Tulsa. Offensive tackle Jack Tanner, Tulsa. Offensive guard Amari Grayson, Jacksonville State. Offensive guard Asher Hale, South Alabama. Center Tyler Mercer, North Texas. And kicker Caden Chittenden, UNLV.
Yeah, I can't think of an offensive freshman we excluded. Can you think of anybody that maybe? If we were including redshirt freshmen, the list would look a lot different. But when you're looking at quote true freshmen, I can't really think of anyone. Like, I guess one player that comes to mind, but there's no way we could have included him. He only played in one game, and that's quarterback Micah Alahado at Hawaii. Now, it was a freaking phenomenal game, right? But he only played one game, last game of the year for Hawaii. I mean, if he had played, half the season or something, I could see some justification for including him. I think he's going to have a special year in 2025, but I really can't think of.
Chinden was great. Had a great kicking season. Our freshman of the week pretty consistently was Ahmad Hardy. Fluff Bothwell was started there at the beginning. We're like, all right, we're just going to rename this the Fluff Bothwell Award. Then Ahmad Hardy really took off. And then Joseph Williams really caught fire there the last 3-4 games. Yannick Smith, he popped off in the bowl game too. He had a good end of the year. It was a good season.
Yeah, I would say of all the guys on this list for the offense anyway, the guy I'm most excited about for next season is Yannick Smith. Now, part of the reason is a majority of these guys are transferring, and they're transferring up to a Power 4 school. But Yannick is returning to East Carolina. He should be in prime slot to get increase his production. Like I said, he came on at the end of the year. They lose Chase Sewell, who transferred. They did bring in there's Winston Wright, who graduates. They did bring in Jaquez Petaway from Oklahoma, who I would assume is going to be the starting slot. But I believe both Anthony Smith and Yannick Smith are your two starting outside receivers. The East Carolina offense looks really strong again in 2025. Caden Hauser returns, so I expect big things out of Yannick Smith. From an offensive skill position, all the rest of them are transferring. With TJ,
so there's 7 guys transferring out of the 13 that we have here.
Yeah, Danny O'Neill to Wisconsin, Ahmad Hardy to Missouri, Fluff Bothwell to Mississippi State, Joseph Williams, Colorado, Jack Tanner, Kansas, Tyler Mercer, Kansas, and Caden Chittenden, the kicker, is transferring to USC. One thing I noticed, Kansas, getting two of the offensive linemen here transferred. So, kudos to them to getting some young, talented offensive linemen to help block for whoever their running back might be in 2025.
And also shout out to Kansas for watching the G5 Hive. Obviously, that's where you learned about these guys.
All right, well, let's move over to the defense. We got edge Kyron Duhan, UTEP, defensive tackle Malachi Taese, New Mexico State, defensive tackle Jaden Grimes, Kennesaw State, edge Jawan Campbell, Jacksonville State, linebacker Chris Jones from Southern Mississippi, linebacker Jaden Studio from Kent State, linebacker Jaden Kimball from Kennesaw State, safety CJ Hurd, Florida Atlantic, safety Jamarly Riddle from East Carolina, cornerback Amarian Fortenberry, South Alabama, cornerback Kelvin Hill, UAB, and punter Grant Chadwick from Middle Tennessee. Several of these guys, I think there's 4 of them that were our freshman of the week multiple times. Kyron Duhan from UTEP, the edge, Jawan Campbell from Jacksonville State. CJ Hurd might have been it the most, maybe. Him or Jamarly Riddle. I think they might have each gotten it like 3 times. The 2 safeties. I know Amari and Fortenberry got it at least once, maybe twice. But yeah, those 4 or 5 guys kind of dominated our weekly freshman of the week. They all had outstanding seasons. And much like the offensive unit, I can't really think of a true freshman from the G5 that we did not include on the defensive team. Some guys I'm excited for next season. Probably Jamarly Riddle's probably tops. Again, 2 East Carolina guys, but he's probably the tops for me for defense from this team. Again, a lot of these guys are transferring up to the P4, but Jamarly is a return to East Carolina. East Carolina has lost a lot in that secondary due to in the portal, and so I expect Jamarly Riddle to kind of have a big role, just like he did, the second half of the season for the Pirates. If I had to pick another player, it'd probably be Jawan Campbell, Jacksonville State. He had some big moments for them, and they got brand new coaching staff. But Jawan Campbell, I'm sure, was a big piece for that coaching staff to kind of keep in place. And Chris Jones at Southern Miss. Southern Miss was not a good team last year. He was a bright spot for them. They have an all new coaching staff. The only concern I'd have with Jones is, I haven't looked at the Southern Miss transfer portal to see how many guys they brought in, but they brought in a ton of guys from Marshall, and this makes me concerned, like, how Jones might fit in with all those transfer portal guys. But yeah, Like the offense, there's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 5. 5 of these, I think, was it
12.
5 of the 12 are transferring. Edge Kyron Duhan is transferring to Oklahoma State. Safety C.J. Hurts off to Vanderbilt. Both the cornerbacks are gone. Amarian Fortenberry has gone to Kansas State. Kelvin Hill is gone to Georgia Tech, and the punter Grant Chadwick is transferring to LSU. The Kelvin Hill one's kind of interesting because wasn't that something that Coach Dilfer said, used as a ploy, not a ploy, but like a mantra, I guess, last year, to say, hey, if you're a freshman, come to UAB, we'll play you, and then you can go somewhere else.
I think so. Yeah.
I think that's something that Coach Dilfer said, and Kelvin Hill took that to heart. He was a starting corner for them, had a great season, and he parlayed that to getting a job in the ACC there at Georgia Tech. So, yeah, we'll see.
I want to take a quick moment just to talk to our audience. You guys here, hopefully you've been here multiple times, and I always tell Justice, like, oh, look at your ECU fandom coming out. And he just glossed over the fact, like he mentioned it very quickly. Like, oh, who am I really excited for? Well, it's this Yannick Smith, wide receiver, East Carolina. Oh, I'm also Jamari Riddle, East Carolina, really excited for. He just glossed over it. I want you guys to not be fooled. I mean, I think Justice actually might be an ECU season ticket holder there as well. I'm not sure. All right, we get back to our regular show. Justice, welcome back. I know you had your earmuffs on, but what's going on?
If I had to pick a second team, it would be ECU. Probably. I mean, they're the next.
You recognized it, but you were like very faint. You didn't want to talk about it too much. Glossed over it really quick, and then went right into it. I couldn't even mention. I wanted to make sure to get back to that.
Well, for those of you that are new tonight, I'm an Old Dominion fan. I'm an Old Dominion alumni, Old Dominion season ticket holder. So they're definitely my favorite team. We have media credentials for Old Dominion, so they're definitely number one. But I guess if I had to pick a second team, it'd be East Carolina. They're also the second closest team to me. I can beat East Carolina in 2 hours or so. So it's not that far from my house.
You could be a season ticket holder. Many are saying.
Maybe if ODU didn't have football, sure. But ODU has football.
All right. My offensive freshman of the year, or our offensive freshman of the year, running back Ahmad Hardy, UL Monroe. Ahmad rushed for 1,351 yards, 13 touchdowns, and added 72 yards and 8 catches this season. He averaged 5.7 yards per carry and had 1,012 yards after contact, which ranked 7th in the college football for a running back. He rushed for over 100 yards in 8 games, with 2 games over 200 yards. His season high was 206 yards versus Marshall. He forced 91 missed tackles, which ranked 3rd in college football for a running back, and was responsible for 63 first downs. Congratulations, Ahmad, on the phenomenal season.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there was anyone else really in consideration for this, right? I mean, Ahmad's season was one of the best running back seasons in all of college football, not just for true freshmen, but for anybody, right? So he was definitely an easy selection for our offensive freshman of the year.
Absolutely, yep.
All right, our defensive freshman of the year was edge Kyron Duhan from UTEP. Kyron had 43 total tackles, 21 solos, 2 pass defenses, 24 stops, 7 tackles for loss, 13 quarterback pressures, and 7 sacks. Twice this season, he had 2 sacks in a game against Kennesaw State and their last game of the year against New Mexico State. He had a havoc rate of 9.4%, and he ranked 2nd in sacks for true freshmen. congrats, Kyron, on the amazing season. This one, I think we had a lot more debate about, right? And I think it was 3 players. It was Kyron Duhan, and then the 2 safeties on our all-freshman team, C.J. Hurd, Florida Atlantic, and Jamarly Riddle, East Carolina. At the end of the day, I think we just hey, man, like, looking at his sacks, the sack numbers, right? That just 7 sacks is for true freshmen pretty damn good. And before, I will say this, at the end of the year, he's second, but when the regular season ended, he was tied for first. It was both him and Colin Simmons, the edge for Texas, both had 7 sacks. Dylan Stewart was behind them. Dylan Stewart's a freshman edge from South Carolina who just, I don't know, got a couple $1 million to stay at South Carolina. But Kyron Duhan was tied for first with Colin Simmons. Now, Colin Simmons had 2 games since then. He had the college football playoff game and then also the conference championship. So he has 2 more sacks. So he has 9. But if you look at on a per game basis, he was tied with Colin Simmons. So, just defensive lineman and sacks, and defensive lineman getting that much playing time. It's not usual, I should say. So that we just felt like, given the number of sacks, that we had to give it to Kyron Duhan. But C.J. Hurd and Jamarly Riddle both had fantastic seasons as well.
Well, that does it for us this week. Come back and join us next week as we continue with our all G5 Hive conference teams. We'll cover the MAC, the Mountain West, and the Sun Belt, as well as finish everything off with our G5 Hive All-American team. And always bring you up to date with all the latest news and happenings in the world of G5 college football. If you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button. And if you're watching us on X, please give us a retweet, a like, and a follow. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please subscribe and leave those 5-star ratings. It's great for the algorithms. We want your guys' support. If you guys like what we're doing, help support us. Thank you for all your support. Until the next time, we are the G5 Hive.